Hey City, welcome back to the channel. It's a girl Vermore, and I'm back with another reaction video. Today I'm just reacting to Candace Owens, and this is Candace Owens touches Ben Shapiro for comments on Tucker Carlson. Daily Wire is done. So this is Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. Alright guys, can't wait to dive into the video. In case you've not seen any of my videos on Candace, please click the link above, or Ben Shapiro, click the link above. But before we get started, we have some amazing people watching us for the first time. If you are new to the channel, I am Vera. I do reaction videos. This is what I love. Why not join Vera City? It is subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever any video drops. And that's guys, let's get started.
Obviously, Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro have different political philosophies. Tucker Carlson, I think, very much agrees with me. And I would say, as we talked about earlier in monologue, now Matt Walsh, that we just shouldn't be sending any foreign aid.
Candace Owens is once again ripping Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire to shreds. This time she's talking about the Ben Shapiro versus Tucker Carlson beef. And Candace Owens, like I said, just absolutely ripped the Daily Wire to shreds. As you probably know, Tucker Carlson went on the Joe Rogan Experience and said things that had nothing to do with Ben Shapiro or the Daily Wire, but it set Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire members off and trying to attack Tucker Carlson again. They can't stand the guy. And I don't know exactly why. I know that they've been beefing for a very long time, but it always seems like Tucker Carlson is saying something totally unrelated to Ben Shapiro, and then Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire just take massive offense to something that Tucker Carlson is saying, and it just reignites this beef out of nowhere. And Candace Owens is just not here for it. She's here to shut the whole thing down, shut down Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire. Let's check this out.
Let's get to Tucker versus Ben Shapiro. Oh my gosh, the conservative world is melting down. You've got to take a side. What do you guys think? So very quickly to recap what has happened. Obviously, Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro have different political philosophies. Tucker Carlson, I think, very much agrees with me. And I would say, as we talked about earlier in monologue, now Matt Walsh, that we just shouldn't be sending any foreign aid. And one of the things that has been particularly upsetting are people that just seem to be playing fast and loose with their words. Most notably, by the way, when we talk about these people, we're talking about people like Lindsey Graham, who is, I think, a lunatic, which is exactly how Tucker Carlson described him when he wrote this on Twitter: "Hit Iran now, hit them hard," followed by Senator John Cornyn of Texas, "Target Tehran," like just tweeting people that are in our government, bomb a country. Like obviously that's going to put Americans in war. And Tucker Carlson was explaining in a recent interview to Russell Brand why that sort of language upsets.
If you enjoy content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Let's get back to the video.
Because like I said, he replied to that tweet and said, "Effing lunatics," right? Here's what Tucker Carlson had to say.
You know, I've got 4 draft age children. So if you're playing recklessly fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you. And I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing, in other words, to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it.
And in reply, Ben wrote this on X. He wrote, "Tucker is simply lying about my positions. I've been calling for a negotiated end to the Ukraine war, freezing the lines of conflict since early on in the war. I have never called for American boots on the ground in Ukraine, ever. I have never called for American boots to defend Israel, ever. I've invited Tucker to sit down."
Yeah, dude, I can't stand Ben Shapiro. He's so bad faith. You might have never explicitly said that America should go and defend Israel. You might have not explicitly said that, but obviously we're funding them. Obviously we're funding their defense or their attack, however you want to say it, of the other side of things in the Middle East war. Obviously we're doing that. Obviously we're involved. And if you're calling for that side to level Gaza, like that's what he said, you know, you want them to continue the bombing of innocent civilians over there and continue. Like, he wants that stuff to continue. He wants it to get worse. He wants it to ramp up. Obviously we're going to be involved in that. So like the best thing for us to do is to get the hell out of there, stop funding them, stop trying to defend them. Same thing goes for Ukraine. That's the best thing for.
But it's quite funny. Why will you say it's Iran? Why will you say it's Iran now? It actually makes no sense for you. And I'm surprised that, well, I'm surprised, honestly. It's Iran. Make it make sense.
Americans to do. Like, for the American people, that's the best thing for America to do, objectively. But that's not what Ben Shapiro wants. And he's going to say, oh, I've never explicitly said that American boots should defend Israel. I've never said that. Yeah, but if we totally defunded them, if we stopped funding that war, then he would have a hissy fit. And we all know that. Like, Tucker Carlson, let me know in the comments if you disagree, but Tucker Carlson's completely in the right here, and Ben Shapiro's completely in the wrong.
Multiple times over the past few weeks to clear the air and discuss our differences. He's said he's willing, but his team has told us that he's busy for months because of all of his foreign travel. That offer remains open. So here's what I would say. I think that in that clip, he wasn't just calling out Ben. And so I think that we're kind of conflating because Ben has a different position, obviously, than people like Nikki Haley or people like Lindsey Graham, who, as I just showed you, Tucker responded to. And there's varying extremes across that platform, which I would say Lindsey Graham represents the craziest extreme ever. He would quite literally put your children in war. And that's who I think Tucker is loosely referring to. Ben definitely, certainly, at least as much as I have heard it, I've never heard him advocate to put boots on the ground. So he's being honest when he says that he has never personally advocated for that. But Tucker is just referring to a bunch of people who, as I said, have varying degrees of sentiment. Ben obviously has been very open about the fact that he does support foreign aid packages. He believes that to some extent America has to do this to preserve freedom in the world. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if you listen to his podcast, has an explanation for why he does think that we should be involved in terms of sending money to assist certain countries. But Tucker doesn't believe that, because what Tucker is saying, and what I think that I would agree with, when
I'm not even someone who think like, obviously, ideally, I would like us to just not be involved in anything that's going on in these other countries. That would be the best thing, if we could just focus on fixing the southern border and the cities that are in free fall right now, like San Francisco and New York and Los Angeles, and the list goes on and on. That would be best, if we could just fix stuff that's happening internally rather than focusing so hard and sending my tax dollars to go bomb innocent civilians and on other wars. That would be ideal. I just think that if we're going to send such massive amounts of money to these foreign countries, maybe we should tell them, hey, let's not use this money to go bomb innocents. Like, maybe if we're going to send all this money over there, we should say, hey, we're going to stop sending you this money unless you stop killing all these innocent people. Like, maybe that should be the case. And that doesn't just go for the Middle East, that goes for everywhere. But it doesn't seem like the people who are making those decisions, the people who are calling those shots to send that money to those foreign countries, doesn't seem like they care much about the moral thing, like the morals of the situation. Like, they don't seem to care that innocents are dying as a result of this money. It just seems like they just want to send money over there for reasons. you know what I'm saying? Reasons that we can't discuss here.
What Tucker is saying is that even if you send foreign aid, this could result in a war, right? You are aiding a further conflict. If you're sending money to Ukraine, that means that the war is not going to stop, right? Because now he's got more money, Zelensky, to be able to fund this war longer. And what can happen in that process is that the war can escalate. So it could ultimately end up with Americans then having to involve ourselves further, or just people hating us, right? How much money are we going to send before maybe Putin snaps and gets upset, or people in the Middle East get upset and decide that they want to enact terror on American citizens, especially with this wide open border? It creates us just having a lot of enemies overseas.
It's actually a really good point by Candace Owens that I didn't even think of until right now. It's like, we're sending money to all these countries like Ukraine, Israel, whatever. All these foreign countries, we're creating enemies as we do this. As we fund these different wars, whether it's boots on the ground, like American boots on the ground or not, we're sending weapons, we're sending money to have them defend themselves or go on the offensive on their adversaries, right? We're creating enemies as we go, and our southern border is wide open for an invasion. I'm sure that there's already been people who came here not just looking for asylum, but trying to do bad things to people in the country. So we're creating all these enemies. Our border is wide open. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster all around. That's why I say defund everyone except for America. Like, just stop funding everything.
I think that that's probably what Tucker is trying to say, that any level of involvement puts Americans at risk, and he has boys that might have to somehow be involved. Now, obviously, there is no draft today, but there have been drafts in the past when there were world wars. And I think that is a fear a lot of people have, that we're going to somehow end up in a world war because we are just supporting too much overseas.
I can promise you this. I'm not going. You know, I'm 25. I identify as male. That was a joke. Please don't yell at me in the comments. But I'm a 20. You know, I'm a draft age male, or fighting age male, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going. You know, I'll go to jail, whatever. I'm not fighting these nonsensical wars. I'm not going to die for that stuff. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Like, if you're around my age, if you would be someone who would get drafted into these wars, would you go, or would you just take the punishment that comes with not, like, refusing to go? Because I'm just not. It's not happening, dude. Because the odds are, like, the stuff that you're fighting for nowadays with these wars, it's probably just resources or land or just egos clashing. Like, I'm good, dude. I'm not fighting for this nonsense. Like, what's the best case scenario? We preserve a country that's extremely corrupted anyway. Like, the government is so corrupted and so sold out to these foreign countries. That's the best case scenario, that we preserve this. We preserve Joe Biden's America. I'm good, man. I'm not doing that.
And also because we have lunatics like Lindsey Graham, who are just saying things as if it represents the will of the American people. And he is saying things as a politician. It's very dangerous for him to be saying those things. So I think ultimately what will happen in this process is, first and foremost, obviously, Tucker believes in free speech. He believes in disagreements. And eventually the two of them will sit down and Tucker will explain his position further, and he's not going to bend on it. And Ben will explain his position further, and he's not going to bend on it. And people who respect Ben's positions are going to follow Ben, and people who respect Tucker's positions are going to follow them. It doesn't necessarily need to be read like a world war. It just needs to be read that we are not a monolith in the conservative movement, and we all think different things, and different ideas and different thoughts should just be permissible.
It's Iran now. It's them hard. I can imagine. The most important thing is that let peace reign. Enough of all these wars. The war between Russia and Ukraine, till today, the war is still ongoing. The most important thing is that we should always fight for peace. Be an ambassador for peace. The war has been going on for years. Even till this very moment, the war is still ongoing. So I wonder why someone would post on his account that it's Iran now. Like, does it look like a game? Like, people are actually getting killed. Like, do you realize? Like, do they realize that people are actually getting killed? Children are getting killed. Homes are getting destroyed. People are getting homeless. Things are happening. When there is war, there are so many casualties. So many lives are lost. So why would you support war? Why would you post such a thing on your account? It's Iran. Just like, it's like as if it's a game. This is real life. This is the real world. And it's just so sad that grown-ups are actually the ones doing this. It's so sad. At this point, I don't even know what to say. What do you guys think about this video? Drop a comment now. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, do not forget to give it a huge thumbs up. And please share this video. If you are new to the channel, join VRCT. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell, so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's, guys, I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.